What's amazing about Iowa is that I've got Governor Chris Christie about 10 feet away from me over here. Rand Paul just walked down this stage. Inside is Mike Huckabee. I mean, you can't swing a dead cat and not hit a presidential candidate. And in fact, there he is right now.
That is great.
So only in Iowa.
Frank, and you did lots of, you spoke to a lot of people after the debate. Give me your takeaways first and foremost about how the debate went without Donald Trump.
And in fact, Donald Trump should have come. They wanted to hear him. They wanted to see what he had to say next to all the other candidates, and they were disappointed. Point number two is that Marco Rubio took some pretty tough questions yesterday, some of the toughest of the debates, and he performed quite well. Number three is the gentleman sitting to my left had one of the highest debate moments when he took on all the Washingtonians and said, enough is enough. And number four, everybody is watching, everybody is listening, and we still have, with only 3 days to go, we still have about 1 out of every 5 voters who's undecided. So last night will have had a major impact on them, but this race is still anybody's to win.
Frank, let me bring in Jolyn Kent. She's been following social media around all of this. Go ahead, Jo.
Yeah, Frank, I'd just like to know, the most tweeted moment was actually Marco Rubio talking about how Senator Sanders would be a good president of Sweden. How did Senator Rubio resonate last night?
Very strong. And it wasn't just his joke about being the president of Sweden. It's what he said afterwards about the four heroes who died in Benghazi. Rubio took some very tough questions and some challenges from other people up on the stage. And the key thing for him is that he's got an answer for everything. And that's very tough in those environments. You know you're on live TV. You know you got about 20 million people watching you. And they felt that he hit it spot on. It was his best debate performance of the 7.
Wow. Go ahead, Dagan.
Frank, was something missing in terms of Ted Cruz having a nemesis? That when he has to take on other people, his delivery and his debate skills are more effective against Donald Trump than somebody else?
I'm impressed with that because that's exactly what our group thought. And in fact, that's why those who came, and we had a lot of Trump supporters in our session yesterday, and they were very disappointed because they did not get a chance to hear that Cruz-Trump discussion.
Yeah.
The two candidates, there are people that are going back and forth between the two, and they actually felt denied that opportunity. And as for Cruz, when he challenged Chris Wallace and kept on challenging, our audiences started to boo the TV. That's not what they want. It's okay to demand smart questions. It's not okay to interrupt the way that he did.
Yeah, that's a good point. Somebody's tweeting right now, Cruz won the debate, Trump for president, Cruz for vice president. What do you think about that? This is just one tweet that I'm reading, but it seems to be, I'm hearing it increasingly. Do you think this is a couple?
No, because you take a look at who's rising. You've got Chris Christie rising in New Hampshire. You've got people re-examining themselves here in Iowa. That all they want to know is, are you going to look them straight in the eye, or in this case, straight in the camera? Are you going to tell them the truth?
Right.
Are you going to say what you mean and mean what you say? That's what they're looking for. And they're trying to judge whether these candidates are just using spin or they really mean what they say.
You and I were talking on email last night about Michael Bloomberg. And you said that the lane is wide open for Michael Bloomberg to enter the race. Tell us about that.
What's interesting is that he takes about a quarter of the Republican vote if Trump is the nominee. He takes about 20% of the Democratic vote if Hillary Clinton's the nominee. And he takes a plurality of the independent vote. And that starts him at 28 or 29%. He would absolutely be credible if he decided to run. Look, Maria, I've never seen an election like this. And I'll be honest, I got it wrong back in August, and I'm determined not to get it wrong again. That you have the frustration and the anger and the betrayal that so many voters feel, they're determined to get this right, which is why these debates have such high ratings and why people keep shifting from candidate to candidate.
Yeah, here's Gary Kaltbaum.
So from last night, with Donald Trump not there, who's got the most traction just out of last night with 3 days left going into Iowa?
I genuinely believe that when all the votes are counted, I think Ted Cruz is going to win Iowa. I think Trump's got more support here than Cruz does. But Cruz has the most amazing operation. I had a chance to ask this question. Not a single Trump person had gotten a phone call, an email, or a text about what caucus to vote in. And a lot of these people are first-time caucus goers. You talk to Ted Cruz's people, they're getting bombarded that organization, they're getting 3 or 4 contacts a day to make sure they get out and vote. I think that makes a difference.
Here's Jack Otter from Barron's, Frank.
So, Frank, I am very interested in this memo I read from you about Michael Bloomberg. The guy has no charisma, and yet I was here in New York City when he comes in after 9/11, $8 billion deficit, and what is, you talk about looking in the camera and telling the truth. He said, I'm going to hurt everyone. I'm going to annoy liberals by slashing teacher budget, getting rid of firehouses. I'm going to annoy conservatives by raising taxes. And what does he do? He balances the budget, he gets a surplus, and then he goes and he cuts taxes and he restores some services. So he gets stuff done, but man, at the podium, he is not an exciting guy. Does he have a chance?
He does have a chance, and and I'm impressed because that was not in the memo, so you could not have known this. The #1 Bloomberg accomplishment was cutting the deficit and turning it into a surplus, and you would not have known that. And Maria, I want to give you guys credit because this rarely happens. Each one of the questions that you have, you could not have known because we did not do a pre-interview before I'm on air. Each one of those questions cuts to exactly what is happening among the voters, among the electorate. And that everyone focuses on the candidates.
Yeah.
I'm focused on the people. And they genuinely feel betrayed. And they want to find the person who's going to give them that sense of safety, of security, and most importantly, of peace of mind.
Yep. And also jobs, peace of mind around jobs. Frank, we just got a GDP number out that shows the economy is growing 0.7%. Not great. Once again, we see this slow crawl and not a lot of growth. So which candidate do you think is going to be best for growth? Who has articulated the story of economic growth and jobs best?
I think you actually have to look at the one that's articulated it the worst, and that would be Hillary Clinton. There's a reason why only 29% of Americans believe that she has the honesty and integrity to be president. Think about that, 29%. That's more than 2 out of 3 who question her judgment and question her character. So when she talks about jobs, voters don't believe it.
Wow, interesting. All right, final question here, Frank, before you go. You said, Cruz could win Iowa. If Cruz wins Iowa, is that basically an acknowledgement that Trump made a huge blunder by not going to that debate?
No, because I thought Cruz was going to win Iowa even before Trump made that decision. I think that it shows that organization really does matter.
Then is that why Trump missed it? He basically said, look, Cruz already has Iowa. I'm not even going?
Anyone who thinks they can judge why Donald Trump says or does anything is nuts.
Okay.
So I hate
Fair
to
enough.
say I don't know, but guys, I don't know.
So was it a big deal that he wasn't there?
Yes, it was. I think it was significant. I actually thought it hurt Cruz, and I think it hurt Trump.
All right, we'll leave it there. Frank.